meeting with Pastor Lee and Pastor Matt in a interracial group of pastors for the last 8 months, and it's rocked my world. I thought I was always part of the solution, but I realized I've been part of the problem. And not willfully, just ignorantly. I just hadn't recognized. I realized that white privilege had shaped my decision making in my life more than Jesus Christ.
Wow.
I didn't let God lead me. I let the news shape me and my perspective and my attitudes. And it's been a really challenging time. I think, Lee, one of the things that really got me was when you started our time and said, none of you would ever go to a doctor. The first thing they would do with you is say, I want your medical history. They'd never give you don't ask for a diagnosis until they know your medical history. They want to know what's going before. Did your parents have heart problems? Did they have diabetes? What do they have? And he said, we try to diagnose the racial issue without looking at the history. And then Lee took us through 300 years of slavery, 100 years of Jim Crow, 50 years of civil rights, and then the injustice in the criminal system and the inequities in the educational world. And you just, if you're a white person and have lived as long as I have, you realize I was sitting on the sidelines during a lot of that. Why wasn't I active? What was I thinking? Where was I as a Christian? Why was I not on the front lines? And so anyway, Lee, it's been a transforming experience for me, and I just can't thank you enough for being so transparent, so vulnerable, so real, and inviting us to grow.
We've talked about a lot of the differences that we've had to get understanding from some different things. We've talked about flags, and the history of the flag, and also what it means to someone of the black race. And so through that, Art and I, we kind of had some side conversations. And it was good because we dialogued just, the experiences that he probed me for some different things to get some understanding from the black perspective. But then, in reciprocating, just talking to him, it's inspired him and his wife to talk and to watch some of the documentaries, to read some more. And so really it's about growth. It's about where we go from here.
If you get to know me, you know that I'm a question asker. So I have probed Kent with all kinds of questions, some questions that I thought I would actually never ask a black man. So that has gotten us to a level that I did not guess that we would get to. And we've gotten to it very, very quickly. And one of the things that I said just today is that every time we have conversations like that, and I ask him questions and he asks me questions back, and we look at things from different perspectives, I fall more deeply in love with this man, which is a really meaningful thing to me. This is a relationship that's going to go on, for sure.
My experience in our conversations group was just amazing. There was so much that came out that really just lifted each other's spirits and gave new life. There was some friction in the beginning, but at the end, oh my God, God came in and we just all came together and realized that we need to come together when there's racial tension, there's news media talking about racial issues. We're going to come together as a group and we're going to discuss it. We're going to talk about it openly.
It was very enlightening. We got to share each other's feelings, enlightened tremendously about what the black community feels about the white community, and able to share some of our feelings back again. The most enlightening thing, I think, was the simple thing like the flag, the Confederate flag. Such a simple issue, and yet when we got the perspective from the black side of our group, it was really, really enlightening to see that it really does impact the way you feel when you are seeing something like that flying somewhere.
I would just like to encourage anybody who hasn't experienced any thing like this, if you can find a place to participate, do it. For me, I was born and raised in the South. I definitely came in here with some strong opinions about race in general, in particular some of the racial tension in our country right now, and I would just encourage you to be open to hearing the side of the black people in our community, that a lot of their opinions are strong too, but by hearing their opinions and hearing their fears and hearing their passion, I've come to a deeper understanding. I have a different perspective.
I feel like we have made new dear friends. And I'm from the North, and I feel like I have to admit my lack of ignorance of what happened in the South. I'm so sad about it. And I've been able to express that to our new black friends, and just to hear their backgrounds and how they even feel treated today and begin to understand their feelings. It's just totally opened my eyes.
Well, we just finished the fourth Conversations gathering. The Landing is what we're calling it. And it was a tremendous time of trying to do one thing, and that is to celebrate where we've come from and how much we've learned from one another. And what's been incredible as we spent time together was to realize we've learned to love one another in this process. We know we're just at the beginning, but we believe that this was essential in order to build the kind of foundations that can lead us into the future together, and both as churches and hopefully broader into the community.
We have been so excited about what God is doing, and we are looking forward to Him doing even greater things. But we had a lot of questions, and one of the questions was, where do we go from here? Particularly from a lot of our white brothers and sisters, they wanted to know, hey, what can we do? And I gave them these 5 initiatives that I'd like to share. Number 1 is listen to us. The beautiful thing about the Conversations movement is it gave people an opportunity to listen to one another. And I believe that's the highest form of respect, is to listen to us. Number 2, we talked about believe us. That means that what we say, it is really true. We're not delusional, but these things that have happened in our life and some of our experiences are really true. So believe us. Thirdly, care for us. That means you ought to have empathy toward what your fellow brothers and sisters have gone through. And then fourthly, befriend us. And I think that's what this Conversations movement has done. Authentic friendships and relationships have been forged, and people's lives will never be the same because now we are true brothers and sisters who are doing life with one another. But then the 5th thing, which is probably the most difficult, is stand up for us. That means now, since we have been enlightened, now since we are friends, now since we have developed empathy, well, what happens when we go back out in the world and we hear negative things about whites or about blacks or about certain situations? And now, since we have the love of Jesus in our heart, we are required to share this perspective with others. And sometimes that will take coaching people and correcting people and adjusting some of the things that people say, and that takes a lot of boldness. So stand up for us. We have to love each other. And in fact, the Bible says that our greatest show of whether we are a disciple of Jesus Christ is how we love one another. And that's the greatest thing about what we experience in the Conversations movement.